Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Heidi Tika Gayat, and I'm going to present the leadership behavior, which is the second subtopic of Chapter 1, Part 3, demonstrating effective leadership. Now, to begin with, let me present to you the remaining subtopic of leadership behavior. Okay. Under leadership behavior, we have an action and results oriented, communication, respecting and caring for others, willingness to take the risk and be innovative, transparency, righting wrongs, staying focused, responding quickly with agility, a positive attitude, and also the last one is the clarity. Now, action and results oriented. Under this behavior, leaders are proactive and not reactive. Productive leaders are an example to the people they lead. Their high level of productivity sets the standards for the rest of the organization. You cannot be a leader if you are standing still or you are content with things as they are. So it is the desire of effective leaders to convert the mission and vision of their organization into action. Following through initiatives and promises is the consistent behavior. Furthermore, the approach of facilitative leaders involves convincing people that something can be done to achieve the desired results and not telling them what to do or doing the work for them. On the other hand, observing a failure to act is likely to make a good leaders upset. They will not accept the response that we've never done it that way before. They also have a hard time accepting the reality that the vast majority of people in our society are reactive and avoid taking risks. This tends to eliminate the leadership potential of reactive people who only work on what someone else requires them to do. This is often leads to overlooking important tasks or putting them off in favor of more urgent tasks. Kumbaga, under this behavior, leaders are the action man. Tinatawag nilang action man kasi they set themselves as an example to their team. Okay? Next, we have communication. Leaders under this behavior are actively solicits inputs from others to clarify issues and potential actions. They constantly aware of importance of good communication. Although communication is a competency that can be improved through the acquisition of certain skills, it is also a behavior that is considerably affected by attitude. This is demonstrated when a leader communicates that he or she cares about the people being communicated with. Someone says nga, yung parang lagi nating naririnig or eto madalas ko 'tong narinig yung sinasabi na, "I don't care what you know unless I know that you care." Okay? Now, among many successful leaders, these are the following behaviors related to the interest in communicating and influencing others. They take actions to help ensure that the key strategies, goals, and plans are understood by all team members. Provides important information quickly and accurately to internal and external customers. Acknowledge and addresses problems and issues in an honest, upfront, non-judgmental manner. They also understands and responds appropriately to the underlying motivations, values, and concerns of others. Now, good communication is certainly one of the best ways to develop trust. If people feel that you are listening to them and that you understand and care about what they are saying, they are more likely to trust you and open themselves up to you. Tama? In reality, listening is more of an attitude than it is a skill. If our efforts to become better listeners do not start with our attitudes toward whomever we need to hear, we will simply become better imposters and will not likely build a higher level of trust in our relationships. The nature and effectiveness of all types of communication within an organization is important to building trust in the leadership. Every day is an opportunity to share news and relevant information among the organization, members, and stakeholders. This transparency fosters improved trust. Now, uh, to summarize, the the effective communication, here are some tips or interesting communication involves a number of dimensions that show others you are interested. Example of this are: I hear what you say, I see how you are saying it, I am trying to understand what you are saying, and I value and what you are saying. As per James M. Koses and Barry Posner, leadership is a dialogue and not a monologue. Okay, let's move on to the next behavior. Respecting and caring for others. Under this leadership behavior, the leader treats everyone with respect, especially those who can't do anything for him or her. Shows interest and genuinely care in what others are thinking and doing in the organization. Acceptance is a key and essential element of organizational effectiveness. Builds and nurtures network of relationships in the organizations. Kumbaga, as we was just discussed, interest in effective communication involving caring about others. Now, clearly, a strong leader must demonstrate that he or she cares about others, especially those who or his or her followers. John Maxwell has observed that in experienced leaders are quick to lead people before knowing anything about the people they intend to lead. And mature leaders are listen, learn, and then lead. Now, also under this behavior, let me emphasize the acceptance. Now, acceptance is a central issue in human relationships, and it is an essential element of organizational effectiveness as well. Acceptance involves regarding the other person as a worthy human being. Accepting others does not mean that you can condone all their behavior. Acceptance is of the people, not their behavior. When you accept people, you are not critical of them just because you dislike how they act. You relate to others with acceptance when, and even if you disapprove of their behavior, you communicate regard for them as persons. Yun nga, di ba, kadalasan sa ating trabaho, sa mga kasama, even hindi sa between the relationship with the boss and their member, mas okay pa din na kahit same position or in different position, kailangan lagi tayong may respect and caring for others. Okay, it should not be assumed that people are inherently accepting. It is very difficult for most of us. We tend to quick to pass judgment. Perhaps that's why many of our interpersonal relationships are less effective than we would like. Absence of acceptance leads quickly to a closing of communication. People who are unaccepting tend to evaluate and criticize, which can be negative behaviors and damage most relationships. Now, successful leaders not only build networks of relationships in the organization, but they also nurture the connections they make. They make time for their clients and colleagues. They make time for their personal relationships, especially for the people they coach or mentor. It takes a great deal of energy to keep connections thriving. but successful people are willing to put in the time and the effort. Good relationships also create energy within the organization, leading to more positive and sustainable outcomes. Once again, this begins with the leaders of the organization who demonstrate that they want the best of its members. Next, we have willingness to take risks and be innovative. Leaders under this behavior are not afraid to challenge the current situation. They are willing to embrace change and newness. They welcome problems and might even seek them out. They are also yung tinatawag nating risk-taker. Risk-taking leadership is necessary to get people to make the challenge and to make the commitment and the effort to succeed. Strong leaders are not afraid to challenge the current situation and they don't need to run with the crowd. The attitude of effective leaders is that they're willing to embrace change and newness and they welcome problems and might even seek them out. As I said earlier, certainly working and hard to achieving desired result is extremely difficult when the situation is unstable or the challenge is complex or the direction is unclear. Many of today's organizational problems with respect to the leadership are critical and pressing. They demand quick and decisive action, but at the same time, they also complicated that it is dangerous to move too quickly to address them because the organization team individual often does not know exactly what to do. A need then exists to slow down, reflect on the situation, and approach it in a new way. This usually requires taking some risks and using innovative thinking. Now, ano ba yung sinasabi natin innovative thinking? Innovative thinking does not depend on past experience or well-known facts. It pictures a desired future state and figures out how to get there. It is intuitive and open to exploring a number of possibilities, focusing on the asking the right questions rather than identifying the right or wrong answers. The goal is to find a better way of doing work and providing improved service by exploring various possibilities. It encourages the question, what if, which can lead to all sorts of exciting new approaches for the organization. Now, however, taking innovative risks does not involve taking a projects or where there is probability of success or projects that will be disruptive to the organization. Yun nga, bakit mo ipapursue ang isang project kung alam mo namang hindi to there's, I mean, yung probability of success niya is hindi ganun kataas. So, the first step toward minimizing unnecessary risk is to acquire knowledge. Siyempre, the effective leader will gather as much as relevant data that he or she reasonably can acquire in an acceptable time frame and mine it for new ideas. In addition, he or she will seek out advice and information from a large network of associates and mentors. With that approach, the leader is taking measured risks in an effort to improve the organization. Now, um, there are practical steps to advance innovation. Number one, we can define the kind of innovation that drives growth and helps meet the strategic goals and actions of the organization. Add innovation to the formal agenda at regular meetings and set performance metrics and targets for the innovation. For number one example, when senior executives ask for substantial innovation in the gathering of customer insights, the delivery of service or the customer experience, they are communicating to employees the type of innovation they expect. In the absence of such direction, employees will come back with incremental thinking and ideas that are familiar to them. For the second example, add innovation to the formal agenda at regular meetings. This sends an important message to employees about the value management attaches to innovation and provides opportunity for productive brainstorming. Ana, Okay, another example set for number three, the set performance metrics and target for innovation is example, they could be established for generating new prospects, affect activity implementing new ideas. These targets would need to be substantial enough to improve the organization's lead generation performance. Leaders can also set metrics to change ingrained behaviors such as it wasn't our idea syndrome by requiring a certain percentage of all ideas to come from external sources. Actually, yung mga ganitong dahilan, kalimitan, scapegoat or playing safe nila pag nag-failed yung innovation. Anyway, leaders willing to explore innovative processes are more likely to experience setbacks. It is important to be prepared for failure as an inherent component of risk, but also to see the benefits to self and organization if failure does occur. Sabi nga ni Thomas Watson, we don't have enough people out there making mistakes. Okay, let's move on to the next behavior. We have the transparency. Now, one quality valued in leaders is the ability to build an organization where the truth and transparency prevail. A leader tells the truth in a real and genuine way that people can verify. He or she is open and authentic. The operational premise is that hidden agendas are detrimental to transparency. Information should flow freely with the organization and be shared as much as possible. Sorry. Okay. Now, under also in transparency, leaders creates an environment that fosters people telling them the truth about themselves. If the leaders make it acceptable to be open, are willing to listen to opposing points of view, and promise to consider the merits of others, arguments the way it is paid for culture of transparency. As a result, amazing things occur. Organizations benefits from a more efficient and more collaborative process of decision making and executing key actions because everyone is more informed. So the as part of this attitude of transparency, leaders need to create an environmental that fosters people telling them the truth about themselves. Then, after having solicited honest feedback and acting on it, they need to ensure truth telling exists from top to bottom. Adults can be trusted with the truth. Yet, many organizations hide the truth because they don't trust that everyone is mature enough to handle it. Are we going to lay any people off? Will be or reorganize again? Or how will the next promotion? Those are the sample when we na hindi siya basta-basta dinidisclose sa employee ng mga leaders. Pero sa panahon ngayon, mas okay na or mas acceptable na maging transparent at mas alam nila yung magiging status ng company. Mas open sila sa ganun. And next is, a crucial element of transparency is figuring out just how open to be. It is important to know just how much to hang on the line for all to see. Although too little transparency can exist, there also can be too much. When transparency is embarrassed without a good understanding of the potential effects of revealed information, it can be unfair and irresponsible both to the organization and to its individual members. Correct. So leaders have to have a firm finger on the pulse of their organization and its culture, knowing people's capacity to observe information and anticipating how it might be interpreted and used. It is in part an artful use of intuition. Now, as per Jack Welch, trust happens when the leaders are transparent, which is I totally agree. Next, we have staying focused. Another leadership behavior is that leaders need to focus their attention. Now, this ability to clearly set the competitive priorities for their organization is the marketplace and the focus the energy and resources of the organization towards the achievement of those priorities. The best leaders take complexity and bring simplicity to it through a focus on problem solving and prioritization, or even just getting things into alignment. This is a behavioral pattern that leaders need to have. For example, a widely acclaimed book, Good to Great, concludes from his 5 years of research that the very best leaders possess two competencies: a resolute and unflinching focus on the purpose of the organization, coupled with a deep sense of humility. Now, some additional tips to help in becoming more focused and productive. Let's see the number one, do creative work first. Typically, we do our simplest work first and build up the toughest task that drains your energy and lowers your focus. In order to focus effectively, reverse the order. Check off the tasks that require creativity or concentration first thing in the morning, and then move on to easier work like deleting emails or scheduling meetings later in the day. So, ito yung nararanasan ko ngayon. Talagang mahirap mag-focus pero kailangan natin ng strategy para tayo makatrabaho ng ayos. Okay. Then next is allocate your time deliberately. Research demonstrates that people are truly focused for an average of only 6 hours per week. That is why it is so important to use the time wisely for important things in the organization. It is only it is often helpful to discover where and when you do your best thinking and allocate your most difficult decisions to the time and or place. Train your mind to avoid distractions. That is number three. Now, mahilig tayo sa multitasking kasi halimbawa may hinahabol tayo, ginagawa natin ganito, ginagawa natin yung kung basta kailangan natin matapos yung lahat ng deadline. So, when multitasking is the norm, your brain quickly adapts. However, you lose the ability to focus. Yun ang negative effect naman sa atin. Dahil nga masyado tayo multitask, hindi na tayo makakoncentrate or makafocus sa isa kasi kailangan nating mag-multitask nga. So, yan, you lose the ability to focus as distraction becomes a habit. Totoo yan. Practice concentration by turning off all distractions and committing your attention to a single task. Start small, maybe 5 minutes per day, and work up to a larger chunks of time. If you find your mind wandering, just return to task at hand. And someone says, if you chase two rabbits, both will escape. Unknown yung nagsabi nito, pero as per our references, which is I totally agree nga na kapag if you chase two rabbits, parehas silang mawawala. Mahirap pahabulin ng dalawang kuneho. Okay, and as per Jack Welch, a good leader remains focused. Controlling your direction is better than being controlled by it. Okay, let's move on to the next behavior. Responding quickly with agility. With all the gains in technology, customer and stakeholder response time has become an absolute critical success factor. Delivering great products and services too late is the same as not delivering them at all. Being slow in response to the customer is the best news you can give to your competitors. Agility is the ability to adapt rapidly to shifts in the marketplace, in customers' demands, and in technology. Organizations that are successfully led do not just cope with change. They ride the wave of change like a surfer, with the same agility and flexibility to shift without missing a beat. Totoo na sa ngayon, very competitive ang industry natin. Kumbaga, dati, pinaplano natin ng ganito, ganyan, magkakaroon tayo ng time. Pero ngayon, a week, a month, sabi nga ni Miss ni Pekka Alapetila, 5 to 10 years ago, you would set your vision, strategy, and then start following it. That does not work anymore. Now, you have to be alert every day, week and month to renew your strategy. Tama kasi, or else, maiiwan ka sa kantungan ng mga competitor mo. Okay. Next, another leadership behavior that a leader must possess is a positive attitude. Okay? A positive mindset is also associated with a strong leadership. All leaders need to be purveyors of hope. If leaders are to be inspiring, they need to be enthusiastic, energetic, and positive about the future. This demonstrates the leader's personal commitment to pursuing the vision. If you are a positive and optimistic person who tries to make the best of any situation, you'll find it much easier to stimulate people to do their best. Tama. As per Ralph Waldo Emerson says, the good man chooses what is positive, what is advancing, embraces the affirmative. Now, however, being positive is much more than presenting a smiley face to the world. A strong sense of balance is also needed. Along with the recognition that setbacks and problems happen, it is how you deal with problems that makes the difference. Positive people approach situations realistically, prepared to make the changes necessary to overcome a problem. Negative people, on the other hand, often give into the stress and pressure of the situation. This can lead to fear, worry and distress, anger and failure. Being a person who looks for innovative ways to operate requires a leader with a glass half full attitude rather than half empty. Okay, tama nga naman. Okay, next or last, we have the clarity. Now, ambiguity can be a leader's undoing. If the direction and purpose of a leader is not clear, it is difficult to see how the organization's daily activities are moving it in the right direction. In a complex world, it is even more important to take difficult decisions and communicate them in a simple terms that are readily understood. Furthermore, many of the behaviors of an exceptional leader, such as authenticity, trust, acting with confidence, etc., are derived from clarity. Kalimitan dito yung nagkakaroon ng misconception, misunderstanding, ano pa ba, kahit na anong, alam mo yun, ah, misinterpretation. Kaya dapat leaders are mas clear. And achieving clarity takes some work and some time. This behavior isn't automatic. Self-reflection discussed earlier is one means of thinking through a situation or issue and sorting out the important essentials from all the clutter that often surrounds anything requiring a decision. It is also helpful to practice working systematically through complex ideas in order to simplify and clarify their core meanings. When a leader is clear in his or her expectations and desired outcomes, it is much more likely that he or she will get what she wanted. Meron kasing boss na, oh, eto, gawin mo to, or you must do this or do this. Pero no further explanation or pag magtatanong ka, galit pa. So, ikaw naman, kung ano yung pagkakaintindi mo, syempre, yun na yung gagawin mo. Yung pala, hindi naman yun yung pinaka ina-expect niya. So, doon, magkakaproblema na kayo. So, kaya, as a leader, kailangan cleared and clarified yung inuutos mo or yung kung ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari. Okay? Clarity on the part of leadership also means that the appropriate amount of time is taken to ensure that the right people are in the right jobs and know what they need to accomplish. This clarity helps followers believe that they are moving to a desired future, which reduces misunderstanding and garners trust. Stressful organizations have leaders that clearly value their people and keep the purpose of organization in focus. This clarity within a team of organizations regarding their purpose helps them accomplish together that which is being sought after. According to Francois Gaultier, more important than the guess for certainty is the guess for clarity. And I totally agree. Okay, and thank you. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.